Hello, knowledge seekers. In this episode of 20-Minute Books, we explore Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, a profound examination of what makes certain individuals not just successful, but phenomenally so. Outliers delves into the stories of people who achieve extraordinary levels of success, challenging the conventional wisdom that success is solely a result of individual greatness. Gladwell persuasively argues that external factors such as family, culture, timing, and even birth dates significantly shape one's potential for extraordinary achievements. Malcolm Gladwell, a celebrated writer for The New Yorker and one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people in 2005, brings his exceptional insight into this exploration of success. He is renowned for his other bestsellers like The Tipping Point and Blink, which also dissect complex social theories with engaging narratives and accessible research. Outliers is a must-read for anyone eager to understand the intricacies of success beyond innate talent. It offers invaluable perspectives for educators, coaches, consultants, and policy reform advocates, providing a broader understanding of how to foster success in others. Join us as we uncover the potent mix of circumstances and choices that propel individuals into the realm of the extraordinary. Outliers. The Story of Success. Introduction. Unpacking the myth of the self-made success story. Who hasn't dreamt of being the mastermind behind their wealth and fame? The idea of being a self-made individual is appealing and widespread. However, the truth about achieving extraordinary success is far more complex than just personal grit and wit. Discover why the concept of achieving greatness through sheer individual effort alone is a myth, and learn about the diverse range of influences that shape one's potential to succeed. In this exploration, you'll find out why giants like Bill Gates and the Beatles rose to iconic statuses, understand the impact of seemingly trivial details like birthdays on careers in sports, and unravel how agricultural practices like rice farming might enhance mathematical abilities. This journey isn't just about demystifying success, but understanding the myriad external factors, from cultural legacies to sheer luck, that play crucial roles in shaping the destinies of outliers. Part 1. Debunking the allure of the self-made success narrative. Imagine encountering a brilliant mathematician and instinctively crediting his genius to natural-born talent. This scenario extends to athletes famed for their agility, musicians celebrated for their rhythm, and programmers renowned for their knack for solving complex problems. Our cultural narrative leans heavily towards celebrating these skills as inherent personal triumphs. This tendency to glorify personal prowess is deeply embedded in our culture, so much so that even public figures like Jeb Bush brandish the self-made label as a campaign tactic, despite having a lineage of American presidents and influential figures. Calling himself a self-made man highlights not just an individualistic culture, but also a pervasive myth. Jeb Bush is deemed an outlier, achieving what many might not under ordinary circumstances, yet his background undeniably propelled his success. This case exemplifies how our society often elevates the individual achievement narrative while glossing over the critical external factors that significantly contribute to success. The myth of the self-made man remains a cherished one, yet it's crucial to recognize the broader array of elements that collectively influence extraordinary achievements. Part 2. Success beyond the threshold. When more isn't always better, it's a common misconception that extraordinary abilities automatically lead to extraordinary success. For instance, towering to a height of 6 feet 10 inches might appear as a golden ticket to basketball stardom, yet it's not a guarantee. Equally, a stratospheric IQ doesn't ensure a Nobel Prize is in your future. The reason lies in the concept of a threshold. In various fields, there exists a point of sufficiency in necessary qualities, beyond which additional increments offer diminishing returns. Consider basketball. Once a player surpasses a certain height, having an extra inch does not significantly boost performance. Likewise, in more cerebral realms, the value of additional increments of intelligence plateaus after reaching a certain threshold. This notion also extends to education. Some law schools, under affirmative action policies, accept students from racial minorities with lower entry scores. These students might generally score lower throughout their academic careers compared to their peers, but when evaluating long-term professional success, they stand on equal footing. Their salaries, career honors, and contributions to the legal field match those of their peers from other backgrounds. This demonstrates that while certain innate or acquired skills are essential to reach a certain level in any field, surpassing this threshold doesn't necessarily increase success rates. Beyond a certain point, other factors, such as interpersonal skills, professional connections, or even simply being in the right place at the right time, become pivotal. Part 3. The 10,000-hour rule, decoding the path to mastery. It's a widely accepted belief that talent plays a significant role in achieving success. Yet, if we delve deeper into the stories of iconic figures like Bill Gates and the Beatles, we uncover that relentless practice was equally, if not more, crucial to their remarkable achievements. The journey to becoming a world-class expert in any field reportedly requires about 10,000 hours of dedicated practice. This figure isn't just a random benchmark, but represents a critical minimum for mastering complex skills backed by research. However, reaching such an intensive level of practice is far from straightforward. Firstly, beginning early is crucial. An early start allows for more practice time, offering a significant advantage over competitors who might start later. Moreover, the support system behind an individual plays a critical role. For someone aiming to become a renowned violinist, practicing 40 hours a week is essential, a commitment that necessitates substantial support, financially and emotionally, from family and a surrounding community. Accessibility to resources also cannot be underestimated. Whether it's state-of-the-art equipment or simply having the environment to foster and nurture talent, the infrastructural needs vary significantly across disciplines. Encouragement from family, mentors, and even benevolent strangers can propel an aspiring professional from practice to mastery. Individuals like Bill Gates and the Beatles had the fortune of these elements converging in their favor. However, this constellation of factors, early start, supportive environment, resource availability, and sheer dedication to practice, is not something every talented individual has access to. This disparity often defines who gets to reach the pinnacle of their field and who does not, setting a divergent path in the journey toward world-class mastery. Part 4. How your birth month affects your potential for success. It may sound like astrology, but the month you were born in can genuinely impact your potential achievements, particularly due to a concept known as relative age. This term refers to your age in relation to your peers within any developmental group, and it can significantly influence your opportunities and success. Take, for instance, Canadian youth hockey leagues, which use January 1st as the age cutoff for grouping players. Children born in the same calendar year compete together. Ostensibly fair, this practice actually places younger children at a notable disadvantage. Those born in December find themselves competing against kids who might be nearly a year older, a significant disparity at such a young age. This disparity is not merely about size or strength, it feeds into a cycle of encouragement and opportunity. Coaches naturally tend to spot and nurture the older players in the age group, perceiving them as more skilled due to their physical maturity rather than actual talent. These older children receive more training and support, enhancing their skills at a crucial developmental stage, a phenomenon known as cumulative advantage. It's no surprise that most professional Canadian hockey players are born in the earlier months of the year. This issue of relative age isn't confined to sports. Schools, too, divide children based on arbitrary cutoff dates, potentially setting a trajectory for their academic success. A child who enters school younger than their classmates might struggle more or be less mature, possibly leading teachers and parents to misjudge their capabilities. Consider a young 5-year-old who, due to their relative immaturity, might be less attentive and more prone to acting out in class compared to their older peers. This child could be seen as troublesome, setting a pathway filled with lower expectations and opportunities. Conversely, the child who is nearly 6 when starting school might be perceived as naturally gifted or exceptionally behaved. This difference in treatment and expectation can have long-lasting impacts on their education and beyond, illustrating how something as simple as a birth month can wield influence over one's success. Part 5. The profound impact of upbringing on achieving success. While reaching a certain level of skill or intelligence is critical for success, what often differentiates the highly successful from the rest isn't just natural ability, but something known as practical intelligence. This form of intelligence isn't about book smarts or the ability to ace tests. It's about knowing how to navigate social landscapes to your advantage. Essentially, it's the art of getting what you want by understanding social dynamics and mastering interaction with others. Practical intelligence involves a keen sense of how to manage social situations and negotiate effectively with people in positions of authority. This skill is crucial as it directly influences one's ability to advance towards personal and professional goals. However, contrary to what one might assume, this skill isn't inherent but taught, and how it's imparted can vary dramatically based on one's upbringing. Sociologist Annette Laro's research uncovers striking differences in how children from different socioeconomic backgrounds develop practical intelligence. Wealthier parents usually imbue their children with a sense of entitlement. This isn't about being overbearing, but instilling a confident mindset that encourages children to feel valid in seeking personalization and accommodation in various situations. These parents are more likely to engage in concerted cultivation, an approach where a child's life is filled with organized activities, fostering intellectual and social development, and where children are taught to converse with adults as near equals, honing their negotiation skills from a young age. Contrastingly, children from less affluent backgrounds may experience what Leroux terms accomplishment of natural growth. Here, children might have more unstructured play, less scheduled time, and fewer adult-led activities. These children are not as actively taught to challenge or question authority figures, which can lead to a passive interaction style with individuals in positions of power. This upbringing doesn't foster the same level of practical intelligence, potentially limiting children's ability to leverage social situations for success later in life. The implications of these differing upbringings are substantial, illustrating that the cultivation or lack thereof of practical intelligence can profoundly influence a child's future success. This insight underscores the pressing need to consider more equitable parenting and educational strategies that can bridge these developmental divides. Part 6. Timing is everything. How birth year influences success. The pathway to significant success often feels shrouded in personal mystery and grandiose tales of individual brilliance. Top-notch logical reasoning, unstoppable ambition, and practical intelligence are certainly headlines of the success stories of software magnates like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Bill Joy from Sun Microsystems. However, a closer look reveals that their journeys were critically shaped by more than just skills and ambitions. They were serendipitously aligned with the perfect timing in technological history. The golden era for entering the software industry, as it turned out for these pioneers, involved not only having revolutionary ideas, but also being born at a time that placed them at the forefront of the computer revolution. Crucially, they needed to be of an age that coincided with the emergence of new technologies, particularly the arrival of more user-friendly computers that democratized programming and opened up vast new possibilities. These tech visionaries had the unique advantage of reaching their professional formative years just as the industry was ripe for innovation. Being too young might have meant missing the initial wave of tech startups, while being older could have tied them to more conventional career paths, possibly dampening their risk appetite, essential for radical ventures. The notion that such a tightly bound window exists, where birth year aligns so precisely with technological and cultural shifts, underscores an often overlooked factor in the narratives of success. It's a poignant reminder that while personal attributes and hard work are indispensable, the specific historical and temporal context can play a decisive role in shaping one's opportunities and ultimately one's legacy in any field. The stories of these tech giants reveal how they not only had to be right about their innovations, but also needed to be right in their timing, born in just the right years to ride and influence the giant wave of technological transformation. Part 7: The Roots of Achievement: How Geography and Culture Shape Success. It's often said, somewhat controversially, that Asians excel in mathematics more than others. While this statement might raise eyebrows, there is substantial evidence that geographical and cultural backgrounds significantly influence capabilities in areas like mathematics. Let's explore how certain cultural aspects inherently support the development of math skills. One prominent factor is language. For example, the structure of Asian languages, particularly in how numbers are named and organized, directly assists young learners in grasping basic mathematical concepts. In these languages, the logical construction of number words helps children understand and perform mathematical operations, such as addition, more naturally and earlier than their Western counterparts. Additionally, the agricultural backdrop of East Asia, dominated by rice farming, plays a crucial role. Unlike Western agricultural practices, rice cultivation demands an extraordinary level of meticulousness, commitment, and labor intensity. The process of growing rice reinforces values such as precision, coordination, and a strong work ethic, qualities that are also immensely beneficial in mathematics. Historically, rice farmers in Asia were more autonomous compared to their feudal counterparts in Europe, who worked under oppressive conditions that offered little reward for hard labor. In contrast, Asian farmers saw a direct correlation between the effort they put into their crops and the yield they harvested. This relationship fostered a culture that highly values persistence and hard work, which is eloquently summed up in the saying, "No one who can rise before dawn 360 days a year fails to make his family rich." These cultural legacies translate into educational pursuits. Research indicates that students in Western countries often abandon challenging math problems more quickly than their Eastern peers, who apply the same persistence learned from their cultural backdrop to their academic efforts. This enduring attitude towards hard work and resilience, inherited even by generations far removed from their rice farming ancestors, contributes significantly to their proficiency in math. Thus, when we say that Asians are good at math, it's not merely a stereotype, but a reflection of deep-rooted cultural and geographical influences that continue to shape educational outcomes. Part 8: Transforming Failure into Success: The Role of Cultural Legacy. Outliers don't just manifest in success stories, they also appear in less fortunate scenarios, such as plane crashes. These catastrophic events are rarely the result of a single, isolated mistake, but rather the culmination of a series of minor mishaps, much like how an opportune series of events can lead to monumental success. A compelling case study is that of Korean Air, which, before the year 2000, struggled with a distressing safety record, with a crash rate 17 times higher than the industry average. This alarming statistic wasn't simply about technical failures. It was deeply rooted in cultural norms. Korean culture places high regard on hierarchical relationships and respect for authority. This cultural value, while beneficial in some contexts, proved hazardous in aviation, where subordinate crew members felt inhibited from speaking up against or correcting the captain, even when errors were evident. One tragic instance was a crash in Guam, where a critical lack of communication due to hierarchical barriers played a significant role. Despite poor visibility, the first officer hesitated to assertively inform the captain, merely hinting at the worsening weather conditions with a subdued comment. "Don't you think it rains more? In this area, here." This indirect approach failed to convey the urgency of the situation, leading to the plane's disastrous crash into a hill. Recognizing how deeply ingrained cultural legacies can influence outcomes, Korean Air undertook significant reforms. The airline engaged an American firm to overhaul its communication training, emphasizing the importance of clear and assertive interaction among crew members, regardless of rank. By addressing and modifying the cultural aspects that negatively impacted pilot performance, Korean Air transformed its safety record to match that of its global competitors. This example underscores the profound impact cultural legacies can have, not just in fostering success, but in averting failure. By acknowledging and adapting cultural values that can potentially lead to negative outcomes, organizations and individuals alike can steer towards safer, more successful paths. Part 9. Leveling the playing field. Strategies for fostering widespread success. The current mechanisms that sculpt raw talent into success often fall short, benefiting only a handful of individuals while neglecting many potential outliers due to systemic inefficiencies. Notably, this issue is evident in sports like hockey, where the timing of one's birth can dramatically influence career opportunities. In Canadian youth hockey, the use of January 1st as a cutoff for age classes creates a significant disparity. Children born late in the year compete against those almost a year older, a minor age difference that plays a major role in physical development and can distort coaches' perceptions of talent. This setup not only sidelines potentially talented players born later in the year, but also centralizes resources toward those born earlier, simply due to an arbitrary date. However, once these systemic biases are identified, they can be corrected. By restructuring the age grouping system, perhaps by quarter year instead of annually, young athletes can compete more equitably, allowing talents to be nurtured on a more level playing field, reducing the disparity created by mere months of age difference. The educational sector also reflects similar discrepancies, where children from affluent backgrounds generally access better resources and opportunities. However, initiatives like the Knowledge is Power program, KPP Academy in South Bronx, show that systemic change is possible and effective. At KIP, which serves a low-income community without selective admission criteria, an impressive 84% of students achieve or exceed grade-level proficiency in math by 8th grade. This success demonstrates that with the right educational strategies and programs, societal barriers can be overcome, paving the way for a broader range of individuals to succeed. By redesigning the systems that identify and foster talent, whether in sports or education, we can ensure that opportunities for success are not disproportionately distributed but are accessible to all, irrespective of the natural inequalities imposed by birth dates or socioeconomic status. This approach not only cultivates a richer array of talents, but also contributes to a more equitable and just society. Final summary. The essential takeaway from this exploration is clear. Success is seldom a solo journey. Rather, it emerges from a complex lattice of opportunities, fortunate timing, and serendipitous events. Whether it's the story of a tech mogul or a Canadian hockey player, the paths to extraordinary achievements are rarely paved by individual effort alone, but are significantly influenced by external conditions and contexts that align to make success possible. Thank you for joining me today on this journey of learning and discovery as we explored the insights of another thought provoking book in our growing library of knowledge. If you've enjoyed our time together, please take a moment to follow our podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and share 20-minute books with other knowledge seekers. Your support truly means a lot. Don't forget to join me again in the next episode, where we will delve into another enriching book. Until then, happy reading and happy listening.